the EFDD Group, Mr Farage.
Thank you. Well, having listened to this morning, it's clear to me there are very few people in this room who understand or dare to admit the significance of the moment that we've reached. In the wake of the historic Greek elections, there are big questions, not just about the future of the Eurozone, but actually about the future of the European project itself. There's a great game of poker that is taking place for the future of this currency. And on the one hand, we have the EU institutions. Now, however much my warnings over the years may have upset people when I said that the EU would crush and kill and destroy nation-state democracy, I think the behaviour of the key players since the Greek elections justifies everything I've said. We have the German finance minister, Mr Schauble, saying elections change nothing. And Mr Juncker, who's not here today, which is disappointing. He ought to be hanging his head in shame, I guess, or perhaps he's busy getting his euros out of Greece. I've no idea. But Mr Juncker said there can be no democratic choice against the European treaties. So there it is, folks. It doesn't matter how you vote. It doesn't matter what government you elect. These treaties are designed to be there forever, and agreements by previous governments bind parliaments that come for years and years afterwards. And what it means is that the European project is in fact the very antithesis of the democratic principle. I think these comments, frankly, are disgusting. And I guess we're all asking the question of who will blink first. On the other side, we've got this new radical left-wing Greek government, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of them until I saw last week ambling up Downing Street Yanis Varoufakis, and there he was with his leather bomber jacket and his blue shirt hanging out at the front of his trousers, his shaven head, looking hands in pockets, looking a bit like a sort of off-duty nightclub bouncer. Now, I'm not normally a fan of Marxist academics, but having seen this fella, I suspect that perhaps he is the real deal. At least I hope he is, because what is at stake, it's clear from the comments we've had from Germany, from people in this chamber this morning, what is at stake is clear. Do the Greek elections mean anything? Yes or no? I hope the Greeks stand firm, whatever the consequences. If they do, the free world will applaud them.
Herr Farage.
Mr Farage. Mr LEICHTFRIED would like to put a question to you. Would you be agreeable?
Ja. Bitte, Herr LEICHTFRIED.
Mr LEICHTFRIED. Thank you very much, Mr President. Mr Farage, I listened with great interest to what you said, and it seems that you're trying to say you're the only person that knows what's going on. Well, maybe. Maybe not, but if that's the case, you've been here for 10 years, more than 10 years. If you know so much about what's going on, how come you haven't ever written a report? How come you've never tabled a resolution? Why don't you do anything if you're so very clever and you do earn so very much from it, Mr Farage?
Well, what I was saying was that there is an atmosphere of denial. Do you know the Latvian presidency, in your wonderful speech this morning, at no point did you mention the word Greece? Mr Timmermans very briefly touched on Greece, and many of the speakers ignored the subject. What I'm saying is people are in denial. We are at a very, very big, important, historic juncture, and that what is at stake is, do general elections in our member states count for anything or not? And I think those arguments and those debates are far more important than whether I've written any parliamentary reports or gone native and become part of the system, because I most certainly have not.